Hello, welcome to Unequal Sequel.
Extra.
I was about to do My Name is Dave bit.
Oh, I thought you were, yeah.
No, this is just a Friday edition. We can lay off doing the other thing for a while. Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to Unequal Sequel. We are the podcast that celebrates sequels. Yes! It is a Friday edition of that episode series, whatever we are. And my name is Dave. And the other man is Rich.
Hello.
Yes, there we go. We talk about sequels. And it is a follow week? Is that the term of sequel world? It's a
fallow week, I think.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Mr. Cleverblogs.
There's not a lot of sequel action on this week. After having a lot of sequels to review recently.
A real lot.
We've got a new sequel to review next week. But
Very excited about that one.
Bit quiet this week.
This week. I did find out there was a sequel yesterday that we could have done, and it was that sequel to the Batista My Spy.
Oh, okay. Has that got a sequel, is it?
It's just been released on Amazon Prime.
Oh.
But I don't think people care.
Probably not. I watched it by accident. I actually watched TV, and it was on ITV. And so I watched live ITV with adverts. I don't know what I was thinking, but okay.
Anyway, there's a sequel of that now.
I thought it was fine.
Well, this one is set in Rome.
Okay.
They go on a school trip or something. I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, we're not reviewing that. We haven't watched it.
No.
We are celebrating, and that is a term I like to use loosely on this one.
Yes.
The 10th year anniversary of, and I've got to get the name right because I keep calling it the wrong thing all the time, is Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, which is
Sin City
2.
Yeah.
Or if you want the long title that it says on like Rotten Tomato is Frank Miller's Sin City, A Dame to Kill For.
Right.
Now, this was released in August in the UK in August 22nd, 2014. The original Sin City was released on June the 3rd, 2005 in the UK. So there is a 9-year gap between these films.
It feels weird. This feels like it should be more than a 10-year gap.
It does, doesn't it?
This movie feels like it should be older than that.
It does. Do you want to do the synopsis, or do you want to talk about the original Sin City first?
I absolutely don't want to do the synopsis because it's ridiculous, but I think that's probably what we should do.
Okay.
Okay, there are no fewer than 5 stories, so I'm going to do them separately, I think, when I do the synopsis.
Should we mention what Sin City is? It's a graphic novel written by Frank Miller.
Yes. So Sin City, for people that haven't seen the original Sin City, which I
or
imagine
read the graphic novels.
Not many people, or read the graphic novels, then yeah, they were originally graphic novels by Frank Miller, very stylized noir novels, which were then made into a very stylized noir kind of collection of movies where people interact and separate stories, but characters overlap in those stories and things. And it was directed by Robert Rodriguez for that first movie, and it was a style that people hadn't seen before. It was very kind of critically acclaimed as being a kind of, looking very visually different, very well loved kind of movie. Yeah, really kind of well put together, I would suggest. Good cast, good
Great
kind
cast.
of like, good use of the noir genre that we hadn't seen for a long time at that point.
I believe it's all shot on green screen as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it must be. Yeah, because it's all kind of... So it's basically black and white, but with certain pops of colour. Like there's a character that's just all yellow.
Yes.
Cool. Is he called like that yellow bastard or something? Isn't that what the character's name is?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And he's... spoilers, he dies, so he's not in this one. But his dad is in this one. We'll get to that.
Yes.
Okay, and so they are kind of a compilation of different stories where they all interact. This one follows that same kind of theme, stylized black and white noir, 5 different stories that all kind of interact, although it's kind of a part 1 and part 2 of one story. So it's sort of 4 different stories, really. Okay, so I'm going to start with the easiest one, which is a returning character called Marv, who is played by Mickey Rourke. He is in the first movie. he's basically an incredibly tough man. And yeah, there's just a weird kind of side story where he comes across 4 teenage boys, rich boys, who are setting fire to homeless people, and he kills them all. That's basically it.
That's one story.
That's one story. Okay, then there's another story about a young guy called Johnny. I think he's called Johnny.
I think he's called Johnny.
Who is played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Seems to be some sort of magic gambler. Always wins. Always beats slot machines. Enters into a poker tournament against some high-rolling people, including Senator Rourke, who is the dad of that big yellow bastard, and who is in the first one. And he beats him at poker, and then Rourke decides, obviously, that can't happen, so he attacks Johnny, in which time you feel like you find out that Rourke is actually Johnny's dad as well. But Rourke reveals he has loads of kids by loads of different women, and he doesn't care about any of them.
He's a bad man, guys.
Yeah,
he's a bad man.
Beats him up, leaves him to die, essentially. That's part 1 of that. And then there's part 2 of that, where Johnny goes to a doctor, played by Christopher Lloyd, brilliantly, who kind of like, shoots up some heroin and then fixes Johnny. And Johnny then gets a dollar from Lady Gaga. I'm not making this up. And then
it sounds like a fever dream at the moment, but this is true.
It does. And then uses it on the slot machines to then get more money, to then go and play poker against Rourke again, beats him again, and then Rourke shoots him in the head.
Yeah.
No idea. Honestly. There is also a sort of little side story about Nancy, who is played by Jessica Alba, who is like an exotic dancer. I sort of want to say stripper, but I'm not sure if she's quite a stripper. We're going to say exotic dancer.
Well, that's part 2 of what happens in the first film, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Nancy storyline.
Yeah, this follows on from the Nancy storyline in the first one. So we do get Bruce Willis as Hartigan in this for a bit, although he's his ghost, I think.
Yes, definitely. Or just a made-up friend.
Yeah, or Nancy's kind of hallucination, or something.
I think made-up friend is a better way of saying it.
Yeah, like imaginary friends.
Yeah, Bruce Willis' imaginary friend.
Yeah, and I think she wants to kill Rourke, doesn't she?
Yeah.
But yeah, and essentially she does end up killing him with some help from Bruce Willis's ghost.
Yep. Keep going.
That's basically that. So Rourke kills his own son, and then Nancy kills him eventually. So I'm guessing some revenge for the first movie and stuff. I'm not going to go into that right now. And then the main story, which is probably one I dislike the most, is about... Is it Dwight? I think his name's Dwight, isn't it?
It is Dwight, yeah.
Dwight, played by Josh Brolin, who is some sort of private detective, I think, photographing like affairs and things.
I don't think you've worked out that storyline is a prequel to one of the storylines in the original film.
Is it?
Where Dwight is played by Clive Owen. And that's why at the end of this film they try and make Josh Brolin look like Clive Owen.
I did not put those two things together.
Okay, because so this film is a prequel and a sequel, basically.
What the actual?
There was a 9-year gap, Rich. No one cared. Keep going.
I did not put that together at all. So yeah, essentially, Dwight gets a visit from his ex-girlfriend, who convinces him that her current husband is mistreating her, and convince him to shoot her current husband, which he does. She then reveals that he wasn't mistreating her at all. She just wanted him dead, essentially, and then sets her bodyguard up to kill Dwight, which he doesn't manage to do. Dwight then gets together a group of women to... Again,
this is from the first one as well.
Yeah. You're right. It's in the first one, isn't it?
There's a line in the first one when they mention cosmetic surgery that he looks different.
Okay. But he has that cosmetic surgery. He has his face reconstructed in this one, doesn't he?
He does.
So yeah, he basically, from being really badly beaten up, he then he gets shot in the face, I think, doesn't he? Like, he's got, like, no face at one point.
His eyes
like,
hanging.
yeah. And so, yeah, he has cosmetic surgery, but it still looks like Josh Brolin.
Very much so, with a bigger nose.
Doesn't seem to change that much. And then goes back to get his revenge on Ava, played by Ava Green, which is useful, because that's easy to remember names.
Is it Eva or Ava Green?
Eva Green, yeah, plays Ava, though, the character.
Yeah,
right?
God, it got confusing.
And then she then kills her own bodyguard, because actually she does love him, and then when they're kissing, he shoots her. And that's it. That's the end of the story.
Marv's in that storyline as well for a bit, and there's some police officer work that goes on that's a bit crap.
I mean, I've not gone into everything.
No, because you'll be there for ages. But I think you did really well there. So it's a film that no one really cared about at the time. Like we said, the first film came out in 2005. Me and Rich were both at uni at that point.
Yes.
And it was so different.
It was
visually
massive.
It was incredible.
Inspiration for so many people. So many people at uni making noir movies following this. Like,
yes.
Everyone went into a little noir phase. Even we did, I think. We made a little noir thing, didn't we?
Probably, I can't remember.
I only remember it because there's a really good shot which we used a toilet roll for. That's all I can...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one. So we loved it. So the first one's great. It has an amazing cast. And most of the people who come back for the second one, I mean, Bruce Willis was in there. Clive Owen's in there.
Clive Owen's...
Mickey Rourke.
Clive Owen's not in there, is he?
He's in the first one.
Oh, he's in the first one. Sorry, I thought you said returning cast. Right,
I know, because I don't know why they didn't use Clive Owen again. I still haven't worked that one out. Michael Clarke Duncan was in the original. He's replaced in this one because sadly he passed away before this one.
Yeah.
So Dennis Haysbert, is that his name? From
Haysbert.
24.
Yeah. Yeah. He's President Palmer from 24.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I always think of him. And at the time, it was really cool and it was different and I think everyone loved it. And I was like, oh, wow, have you seen Sin City? It's just so fresh and different. I can't wait to see a sequel, which you'd think they'd do pretty quickly from the turnover of that one. Because the first film did pretty well, like box office-wise. I think the budget was like 40 million and they got about 158 million out of it. So there's a profit.
Yeah.
And then people waited for a sequel and then people forgot about Sin City, I think, as the film, and time passed on, and then 9 years later, this one turned up, and I don't know if it was like you, same as you, me, Rich. I didn't even know it was out, kind of thing.
No, it almost felt like a sort of straight to DVD kind of thing.
Yeah,
but there is a fair chunk of returning cast, though, right? So Mickey Rourke is back, Jessica Alba's back, Rosario Dawson's back, Bruce Willis is back, Powers Booth is back.
Yeah.
I can't think of who else was it from the first one. But then on top of that, you've got Ava Green, Josh Brolin, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ray Liotta, Jeremy Piven, Christopher Lloyd, Juno Temple turns up for a bit.
Yeah,
like you said, Dennis Haysbert, you've mentioned. Like, there's so many people. Like, it's
mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's people I haven't even mentioned that crop up that you'll be like, oh, that guy.
It's crazy. So I'm guessing you didn't see it in the cinema.
No, didn't I? No, genuinely. No. Okay, so this is how much I know about this movie. I own this movie, but I think I got it in a job lot of Blu-rays that I bought.
Yeah, you must have.
And I didn't realise I owned it. So I rented it to watch it for this. And then Dave was like, you've got this movie already on your Plex. And I was like, oh. I just wasted £3.50 renting it.
Damn it.
So that's how much I knew about this movie. I owned it, didn't even realise I owned it.
So this was the first time you saw it?
It's the first time I've seen it, yeah.
I saw it a while back. I think it came through my work around the time of probably Blu-ray release, actually, or somewhere. So I didn't know it was on the cinema. I don't think anyone knew it was on the cinema.
No.
The marketing must have been awful.
I don't think, probably wasn't.
I don't even remember. Yeah. And you'd think with Robert Rodriguez, I mean, Frank Miller, Sin City, the actual graphic novel's got a following.
Do you think people watched it and were like, oh, this is bad, we're not going to bother putting marketing into it? Or do you think, we're not going to need to bother marketing it because it's a follow-on from Sin City, everyone's going to love it? Not realising that there's like nearly 10 years between them.
You would think that, but Sin City was such a moment and it was such a standout film and there was nothing else kind of like it.
No.
By the time you got to 2014, I think it wasn't as fresh and new and
No.
different.
No, and techniques had moved on a lot, right? So this,
Yes.
it kind of looks quite dated. I couldn't believe this was a 2014 movie. It felt like a mid-2000s kind of movie.
It felt like they made it straight after Sin City and then forgot to release it.
Yeah, it did.
Basically. I was reading up on the release of it, and it does turn out that it had a bit of trouble from the Weinsteins, held it back a little bit.
Right.
And they just kept production. In 2005, after Sin City was released, Robert Rodriguez announced plans for a follow-up film that would feature many of the same characters. He planned the film to be based on A Dame to Kill For, which is a famous part of the graphic novel, I imagine.
Yeah.
Miller said that the film would be a prequel and a sequel with interlinking stories both before and after the first film. Miller, who was writing the screenplay in 2006, had anticipated for production to begin later in the year, which sounds like it should have done. However, Rodriguez had said that the official casting would not start until the script was finalised and in the studio's hands. At 2007 Comic-Con, Frank Miller confirmed that he and Robert Rodriguez had completed the script, but blamed the Weinstein brothers for delay. And then there's a gap. And then to 2011 Comic-Con, Rodriguez stated that the script for Sin City 2 was nearing completion, and it was in the hope that shooting could begin before the end of the year. And then he says what stories there is, and then in 2012 someone else was brought on to write script. Do you remember The Spirit? Frank Miller made a film of his other graphic novel, The Spirit.
No, I don't.
Well, we're going to do that on Disenfranchised at some point because it's not good. Again, it's got a crazy cast and it's shot very much like this.
Okay.
I don't know if that did some damage. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, Rodriguez announced that production on Sin City 2 would begin in mid-2012. He announced that it was going to be released in 3D. I imagine this would look quite good in 3D, actually. I was thinking that when I was watching it last night with the splatters of the blood and stuff like that. Anyway, on April 13th, 2012, the film was confirmed. In addition to the new title, Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, the film was expected to go into production in the summer of 2012. But principal photography began near the end of October 2012. On June 17th, 2013, the film's release date was pushed back from October the 4th, 2013 to August 22nd, August 2014. Rodriguez later explained that the film was always intended for 2014 and they were merely holding the October date for Machete Kills.
Right, okay.
And there was also a big, I do remember this actually, there's a big hoo-ha of a Eva Green poster that was banned.
All right.
Because it was too sexy.
Oh, okay. She is naked a lot in this movie.
I was surprised of how naked and how long she was naked for. I could not remember. So I saw this way back in 2014 when I was at work at some point, and I, like you, Rich, I forgot most of it.
Right.
Because I think it's quite a forgettable film.
Yes, very much a forgettable film.
I think they put certain characters in because of the actors that played them and the impacts they played in the first film. Like when Mickey Rourke first played Marv in that first film, Mickey Rourke was not a big name. He had been down on his luck for a while.
Yeah, he was like an old 80s star that nobody cared about.
Yes,
and then Sin City brought him back, right?
He did this, and then I'm not quite sure what year The Wrestler was.
Yeah.
It's a few years later, and that put him back on the map, and he's done okay since.
I think Mickey Rourke was kind of a joke before Sin City. Like he was a boxer and,
lots of...
Yeah, and he had lots of like facial surgery and stuff, hadn't he? So... Yeah, I think...
But he was brilliant, Marv, and he has a standout character. And even in that first film, Bruce Willis is good, I think.
Yeah.
The storyline with Nancy, the Jessica Alba storyline. I think the first film, I know it's lots of little stories, but it's more coherent a little bit. Of
the stories interlock better,
a lot better,
don't they? Yeah. This one is like the 5 little smaller stories, but they don't really have any bearing on each other. Like it's very
not
loose.
At all.
Well, yeah. There's a few overlapping characters in places, but not really.
It's the senator, right? It's the only person that really... And then they try and get Marv in.
And Marv, yeah. Marv's kind of a bit more of the
Marv's in
character.
All of them.
Yeah. Marv's in all of them, I think. But maybe only says a line, though, in some of them.
Well, he beats up the kids, and then he helps Dwight.
Yeah.
And then he helps Nancy.
Yeah.
So the only one he's not in is the Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
And he is in that, like, again, for like one line. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt's about to go into the his second
yes.
poker game, and he has a small conversation with Marv, where Marv takes a bit of his money. Basically, it's nothing. It's. I genuinely thought Marv, he was going to get Marv on side, and Marv was going to burst in and kill everyone in that card game, rather than like what happens. But yeah.
I got to about the hour mark in this movie, and I was like, please let it end soon. It was that really dull.
I was surprised, just how dull it was.
It's that Josh Brolin, Eva Green storyline was the particularly boring.
Yeah, and also I sort of found the Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Powers Booth story, the Senator Rourke story, really fucking pointless. Like, what are you telling us with this? Like, what? I don't get it. Like, you trying to show us he's a bad guy? We know he's a bad guy. It's in the first movie.
We know he's a bad guy.
What? I don't understand.
I don't understand most of the movie. And it's really annoying because I really like that first film.
Yeah.
And when I first saw it, I was like, I can't wait to see more of this. And I remember, I think I went and read the graphic novel of this, and it was everywhere doing promotions, and HMV, they're like, graphic novel.
Yeah.
And then just time slipped by, and it kind of just, you forget about it. I own Sin City, and I cannot find it. I own it on a DVD Steelbook, and I went searching for it yesterday.
I don't know if I even own it. But
no, it's not on your Plex.
No, I don't own it. I own this one. I own the second one. I don't own the first one.
That's why I went searching on your Plex. I was like, Rich might have this, because he has a lot of random films, ladies and gentlemen, on his Plex.
I went through a stage of buying job lots of Blu-rays from
But even
eBay.
your old DVD collection.
Yeah,
some of them.
And also incomplete, because somebody nicked all my DVDs once. And an ex carted off with loads of DVDs as well. I was like...
So I went on his Plex and I typed in Sin City, and then Sin City 2 popped up, and I was very confused.
Yeah, I would be too, because I didn't realise it was there.
I pressed play and I thought, no, this is definitely the second one. And then I had to text you, and I was like, you already own this.
And I was like, no, I've just paid £3.49 to rent it on Apple.
God damn it.
Oh dear.
Anyway, it sounds like neither of us got a lot out of it. Like, is there anything there? Like,
I found it really boring.
Do you still feel that look still works in 2014? And how do you feel about it in 2024?
Well, I didn't watch it in 2014, so it's
hard
to say.
Fair point. Fair point.
But I don't think it it looks dated in 2024.
You think it's aged?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel like it has. There are a few scenes, and I'm like, oh, that looks bad.
Is that the green screen?
I think it's the green screen. Yeah. But also, I think that we're so used to CGI fest movies now, where everything that you see on the screen is just created in a computer, that this is kind of old hat now.
Do you feel like the violence as well is that old hat from what we're getting, like The Boys or
potentially, but there's always been violence in movies. Like, I don't think this kind of comic booky violence, I guess, is different. But yeah, you're right. It's not, it's stuff we've had already. It's certainly not groundbreaking like the first Sin City felt.
Yeah, right. The first one felt groundbreaking.
Yeah, but obviously it's really hard to be groundbreaking again for a sequel. But I also the main problem for me is that the stories it tried to tell felt boring and pointless. Like, the stylization is secondary, really. Like, I would have been, if the stories had been compelling, it would have been fine. But because I think I noticed more flaws with the style because the stories were so dull, so I was looking for something else.
You're looking around, aren't you?
Yeah.
And even a naked Eva Green doesn't help.
No, I genuinely didn't care about any of that story. Like that.
Do you think the acting was bad? I mean, because acting on green screen must be hard when you've got nothing around you.
It must be hard.
And you're trying to do that noir, like, police detective, like, kind of thing. Narration kind of thing.
I think actually that the Josh Brolin and Eva Green was kind of the worst bits of acting.
Yeah,
it was really hammy, like really over the top. And yeah, I think that was kind of the worst bit of it. Like, there were a few times when they tried too hard with the noir stylization, when they, like, the shadows and just the eyes are lit and stuff in that very noir kind of way, but it was all really obvious. and it felt like parody in a lot of places because it was so kind of teeth clenchingly bad.
Yeah, I agree. Once that storyline was over, I was like, thank God.
Yeah,
we can move on. And then I liked the Powers Booth character. He's a brilliant bad guy.
He's a brilliant bad guy. Senator Rourke is a really bad guy, obviously. But again, that whole storyline with Johnny went nowhere.
Did nothing for you.
No, it didn't go anywhere, did it? Like, why did Johnny go back for another card game when he knew he was going to get killed? Why did he just get killed? Like, it felt just a bit like pointless.
He does tell him that he's always going to know that he's beaten him twice.
Well, yeah, but
that's the worst thing.
What's the point? Like, I don't get it.
You said that about that, but I was saying what was the point of the last story, the Nancy storyline.
Oh,
which is really good in the first film, the Bruce Willis Nancy storyline with Jessica Alba, and then you get to this and you're like, I don't really care. I can't really remember what happened in that. I like Bruce Willis.
It seems like that story.
We just want to use
more,
Jessica
though.
Alba to get her to dance sexy again.
Well, yes, there probably is that. But I also kind of feel a little bit like that is Nancy's revenge arc and Hartigan's ghost distracting Rourke at the end so that she can kill him is sort of... that almost felt like it had a point.
Okay,
whereas
good.
none of the other storylines felt like they had
an
any
ending,
point.
and that was the end of the film as well.
Yeah. But none of the rest of it felt like it had any point whatsoever.
There was a Sin City 3 was planned, and I'm going to read the quote to you and then we can look at box
Maybe
office
we'll
and
get
stuff.
it like this year, 10 years later.
So basically, there's a big character called Wallace. That's a big character from the graphic novels, and Wallace was set to appear in Sin City 3, which was to be directed by Rodriguez and Frank Miller. Rodriguez said he wanted Johnny Depp to play the part. Depp was originally supposed to play the part of Benicio del Toro's Jackie Boy in the first film.
Yeah.
However, filming of Sin City conflicted with that of Depp's projects at the time, which was probably like Pirates or something.
Right.
Depp expressed great interest in being part of the Sin City franchise. Frank Miller revealed at the 2014 Comic-Con that he and Rodriguez had discussions about a potential third Sin City film. Miller said at the event, "So you better show up for number 2 or they won't pay for it." And here we go on.
Right.
Due to the poor box office numbers for Sin City, A Dame for Kill, and mixed reception for the film, plans for the third film were cancelled. Recently, there has been talk of turning into a TV series, and apparently in 2019, Legendary Pictures brought the rights. So that's where we are on that. So the first budget of the first film was 40 million and he made 158 and it was a success.
Yeah.
The budget for the second film was a bit more at 65. Yeah, more.
More, okay.
65 million.
But then I suppose 10 years later, inflation, all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But, yeah, okay.
65 million estimated on IMDb, and gross worldwide it made just under 40 million.
Oh, yeah, that's why he didn't get a 3 then.
And in 2014 it's a big year for films. So the year, I'm just going to do the top 10.
Yeah.
Interstellar, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Captain America the Winter Soldier, X-Men Days of Future Past, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, Maleficent, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Hobbit, which is the Battle of the Five Armies, the last one, and Transformers Age of Extinction. So you can see there how kind of films have moved on. Like comic books have blew up since 2005.
Yeah.
In 2005, not many comic book films, so that's why another reason why graphic novels and stuff was a big thing. It was I've got to go down the list so far. Still going. Oh, this is bad. Sin City, Dame Kilfor was 151 highest grossing movie of that year.
151st, blimey.
Above it was a big bomb called The November Man. There's loads of films you'll never hear about it. Asterix and Obelix, Mansion of the Gods was above it.
I quite like that. It's quite fun.
Chef made more money. Well, Chef was a great film, but it was on a lower budget. Boyhood. But Dolphin's Tale 2 made more money.
We should have done that.
Yeah, A Walk Among the Tombstones made more money. The In-Betweeners 2 made more money than Sin City 2. And the In-Betweeners 2 is primarily a UK-based property.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, do you want to guess some scores? We'll do IMDb first and see.
Okay.
Out of 10. 171 votes.
Okay.
Do you want to know what the first one got on IMDb?
Yeah. Tell me what the first one got.
First one was 8 out of 10.
Okay, that's really high.
Good. It's good.
That's for IMDb. That's sort of very high. I would say 5.5.
Ooh, 6.5.
Oh, okay. That's really high. We should have done In-Betweeners too. That came out in August 10 years ago. Why don't we do that one? Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
They go to Australia. It's great. Okay, so Sin City, Rotten Tomato. Thank you, sequelizers. Do you want to know the first one? What that got?
Yeah.
Or do you want to guess?
This has blown my mind a little bit. It got 6.5 because that's quite high for IMDb.
Ooh.
So
yeah. Sin City 1. What do you reckon that got for critics?
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me.
No, I'll let you guess. I'll change my mind.
89.
76.
Okay.
Audience?
That's lower than I thought it'd be. Audience 93.
78.
Whoa! Okay. So that's the first one.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Second one.
I'm really confused now because the IMDb is higher than I thought, but then the first one on Rotten Tomatoes is way lower than I thought. 46.
43.
Oh, it's close.
Close. I've got some people saying, haters gonna hate, but I love being back in Sin City, someone wrote. And then someone else wrote, there's nothing here to wow here.
There isn't. Yeah, that's true. Oh, why didn't we do In-Betweeners 2? We've had fun with that. Sorry. Anyway.
Audience score.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you think it's going to play better to an audience?
I think probably around the same. I think 48.
When you said around the same, I thought he was going to get it. Audience is 44%.
Ah, bugger.
You know, some of the 5 stars. Awesome. This person wrote, I won't lie when I said I only watched the film for Lady Gaga.
Really? She's in it for like 8 seconds.
Yeah. Entertaining, interesting, different. I liked this movie. Someone has to put, this is one of those sequels that you never asked for. I think that's wrong because I think in 2005 you did ask for it. I think you wanted to see it.
By 2014, everyone had forgotten they'd asked for it.
It took far too long for a sequel, and there was no need for it to take that long. I don't think, because you've got the green screen stage there. You know, you had the actors. It was all ready to go. You had the graphic novels. I don't know why they changed it as much, adding the new stories. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing. But like this, I don't know how many volumes there are of Sin City, but I remember it being a very cool thing in the mid-2000s. Barely mentioned now.
Yeah, that's true.
You still hear like Watchmen come up and stuff like that, and this one...
I would say Sin City had more of an impact than Watchmen at the time.
The graphic novel?
Yeah.
See, I'm not cool or old enough to really remember that, I don't think.
I don't know. I mean, saying that, I own Watchmen, the graphic novel, but I don't own Sin City graphic novels, so maybe not. Who knows?
Well, there you go. So let's just rate this bad boy, and then we can stop thinking and talking about it.
Okay.
So, unequal sequel, and what would you give it out of 7?
Well, I mean, I think it's clearly an unequal sequel.
Yeah, because the first one is much, 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 much better.
Yes.
Saying that, will it still be much, 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 much better? I still think it will hold up pretty well, that first one. But...
yeah, maybe we do need a rewatch.
Yeah.
But yeah, from my memory, and it's, the first one's really good, this one isn't, so yeah, unequal sequel. Rating-wise, out of 7, it's quite hard, because I don't want to be too harsh on it, but it is bad. I'm going to go 2.5 out of 7.
Yes, I would also agree with 2.5 out of 7. I think that's pretty strong for that kind of film. I mean, I appreciate the work that went into it and the actors and stuff, but it's just...
yeah.
When you think of Sin City, you don't think of the sequel, do you? You think of that first
You
film.
absolutely don't, no.
I'm sure there's people us talking about it and people are like, there's a Sin City 2?
Yeah.
What?
Does that even exist?
There is. Go check it out if you're interested. It's around. You can rent it, Rich said, on YouTube and Rakuten and wherever places there are to rent films now. Would you have liked to have seen a Sin City 3?
No. I didn't even realise there was a 2 until very recently. I mean, I think I was aware there was a 2, but I just dismissed it. I thought it was all kind of straight to DVD. I actually felt like there were a few sequels to Sin City, and they'd all been straight to DVD nonsense that I just ignored. But it turns out it's just this one, and
which you ignored.
Which I ignored. That I ignored so much so I didn't even realise that I owned it. So.
I don't blame you. In 2014, I was deep into movie releases and stuff, trying to do writing, and even for me, it just gone in the wind.
Just passed you by.
It came and went. No one cared. I know. It'd be amazing to see what kind of promotion they did, but it didn't. So 10 years ago, released today, 2014. Happy birthday, Sin City 2, A Dame to Kill For. You have not aged well.
No, sorry.
But if you liked it...
Yeah, you've not aged well, I'm afraid. But hey, there we go. These things happen. But I'll tell you what has aged well, Dave. All our old episodes.
Brilliant.
I mean, some of the early ones, the audio quality is not so great, but the content is excellent. So I think everyone should go back and listen to those. We have just finished Season 6. We've done the best of. Season 6 is done. But also, by the time you're listening to this, we'll have started recording Season 7. So you'll have that coming soon. Yeah.
Yes.
Fun times. Fun times. Can't believe we've got episodes in the can of Season 7 already. Wild. We're actually organised on this one. Yeah, so go back, give everything a listen, get prepared for Season 7. It's going to end at Christmas time, so there's going to be a Christmas episode. Woohoo! But yeah, so there will be a Christmas episode for Season 7, even if it's not the last episode. It'll be around that kind of time. So Dave's putting his Wallace and Gromit face at me at the moment, which means...
I know is that... I know we're going to do a Christmas episode. What we're going to do for that Christmas episode,
God knows.
We don't know.
No, we really don't know. Send us your thoughts. What should we do for a Christmas episode? Let us know on social media. We're on all of them. Might not be on X for very long because we don't like Elon Musk. He's a bit of a knob.
I've muted him.
And everyone in the UK is leaving X by the looks of it because he's such a knobhead. So yeah, don't bother with that. Find us on all the other social medias instead. We're on Threads and other places. Come and find us on those. And Instagram, we do that quite a lot. But yeah, if you don't do social media, you can get in touch with us on the email unequalsequel@hotmail.com. So let us know what you thought of Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. But also, more importantly, let us know what we should do for a Christmas special episode. Give us a shout on that. And also, we'd really, really like to get to be Rotten Tomatoes critics, certified critics. So what we need you to do to help us do that is to go on Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. Because if we can get to 200, then we can apply to be the Rotten Tomatoes, whatever you call it, authenticated critics.
They can still reject us, but
They can still reject us. They'll be like, no, of course we're not letting you idiots be certified by us. But hopefully they won't reject us. And then our grading movies out of 7 system will break their entire algorithm. And
you should probably not declare that we're planning to break Rotten Tomatoes.
Probably not. But yeah, okay. So we want to do that. We want to become Rotten Tomatoes critics. We need 200 reviews on Apple Podcasts to do that. So please go and review us. Tell your friends. Get them to come and review us. Because 200 would be amazing. And once we get to 200, we will do some sort of competition for all of you listeners, and we'll do something. We don't know what yet, but we will do some sort of competition. Dave is shaking his head like this is going to be hard. It'll be fine. We can work it out. But yeah, to celebrate getting to 200 rates on Apple Podcasts, we will do something. Also, if you really love us and you want a bit more from us, then get yourself onto anotherslice.com/unequal sequel, where for $2.99 a month you can join our super special slices subscription service and get yourselves loads of extra content, disenfranchised, box set mentality. We're looking at all the Rambo movies with box set mentality at the moment. And we're about to talk about Leon for disenfranchised. So yeah, that'll be fun.
A good movie.
Yes. Don't often get good movies on disenfranchised, do we?
No. No. Are you done?
Oh, well done. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was looking at other things. I was looking at, because we're also on TikTok.
Oh.
So
TikTok.
don't forget we're on TikTok, because we're cool and hip.
And we're on YouTube, and we were having a discussion yesterday about how we can do a bit more content for YouTube. You might, and this is a big might at the moment, start to see our ugly mugs on YouTube.
Yeah, because we're cool, young, hip guys, right?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We're old, ugly men.
We are trying to get ourselves out there a little more. So, we're not quite sure how or when or, the possibility, but we are looking of slowly promoting ourselves, because at the moment we're very bad at that.
We are, yeah.
So, thank you for anyone who doesn't think we're bad at that or sends thoughts in. You guys are great. Yes, we're on to next week. Next week is a sequel I've been waiting for quite a while. It's Alien Romulus.
Woohoo!
There are murmurs that it's good.
Ooh.
But I've heard murmurs about other sequels I've looked forward to and saying it was good, and that's been awful.
The trailers look good.
Trailers look good. So we're going to be watching that. I'm talking about that. We haven't been invited to any screenings, so, just...
Dave, we only get invited to screenings for films that are doing badly, I've discovered. Like, we're somehow going to turn the tide.
And they're not even sequels most of the time. Anyway, it's a goodbye from me, bye-bye, and a goodbye from him.
Bye!
See you on the next one, sequel to this one. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I think it's a good gauge to tell how well a movie's going to do if we get invited to the screening.
There's definitely something in that, yes.
There's some sort of correlation there, right?
Oh, man. Just invite us to good films, please.
Yeah, just some sequels. Just invite us to sequels would be nice.